Everts there on the 72 bike. Number one, Joel Smets. No championships can be won here today in this class, we don't think. It depends. If Everts wins it and Smets scores no points, then we can almost say that Everts is the champion. Well, as always, the 500s tend to make the track a little wider than anybody else. They use all of it and a bit more. But it is, let me see, it's Marnique Bevorts that has the lead. Bevorts goes through. What a great one. But we're on board with Shane King on the KTM. Great shots from our camera. That's Yogi Carlson, number 7, directly in front. This is what it's like to ride a world motocross bike. That's Bernd Eckenbach in second place at the moment on the 28 bike. Well, action are beginning to hot up here. It is Marnique Bevorts that leads it. Bernd Eckenbach in second, then it's Everts, and I hope these two don't have another coming together as they did last week in Switzerland. You remember that? Well, I'm sure Bernd Eckenbach does, that's for sure. That looks like Andrew McFarlane, the Aussie back there in third place. It is on the 29 bike. Then it's Andre Bartolini, the former world champion. Then Yogi Carlson, the Swede, on one of the very few two-strokes that's still riding. There's Smets 7th, Lind, Shane King is 9th, Asplan 10th, Christian Burnham and Fabrizio Dini in 12th position. But Anne Everts has gone through. Everts is through. James Noble, there he is, behind Peter Johansson. Well, Garcia Vico, he's had a terrible start. He's down there in 20th place, but I don't think he'll stay there for one possible moment. But out front, it's still the number 2 bike of Marnique Bevorts. Behind him, the champion, well, to be maybe this year, too soon to say. Can't be won here. Stefan Everts on the 72 bike. Remember, there are still 3 rounds left to go in the series. That's 75 points on the table, plus the 25 from here. So 100 points are up for the taking, but that is Joel Smets carrying that number 1 plate, which he's going to have to get further up the field than 5th place if he wants to stand any chance of denying Stefan Everts of taking that title at the end of this season. So it's going to be very interesting. Joel Smets has to win the race, I think. Everts has to not finish the race, have a DNF, and then we'll take it to the next 3 rounds, and it's going to be very, very interesting. The 125 and 250, of course, championships now tied up here in Germany, but the 500 is still very much in question. McFarlane in 3rd place. And as for Andrew for next year, we're not sure whether he will stay with the Yamaha squad and ride the 500. That's Smets going through past Bernd Eckenbach on the 28 bike. So Smets is on the roll. Bevorts, Everts, McFarlane, Smets, Eckenbach and Andre Bartolini on the Husqvarna back there with Carlson, Johnny Lind, Shane King still hanging on tonight. Christian Burnham on the Sahol's Honda, the 2-stroke up to 10th place. So remember, he had the onboard camera last week. We had that incredible battle with Van Dorn. So Smets now trying to close the gap. Everts and McFarlane, 1.765 the difference, but I think Smets is going to join the party any time now. You can see Everts just out there in front of those two. McFarlane is going to know that the Flemish Lion is about to roar. He's on his way. Over the last few months, the last few Grand Prix, Joel Smets, and it's his own admission, has just really not had his head into gear. Lots of distractions for him. He's just not had the fitness, not had the flow on the bike, his head has not been into racing, but he's putting it all back together here as he tries to get past the Aussie in front. McFarlane out jumps him over the jump. Clearly, the power of that bike does the job. This KTM really is an awesome piece of machinery. And the Yamaha, well, that's not a full factory bike that McFarlane's on, but look at Smets now. He's got the sniff of Stefan Everts in front, but McFarlane hasn't given it up. He's dogging the back wheel of the current world champion, Joel Smets. McFarlane would very much like to go out at the end of the season in great style. He came onto the Grand Prix. Everts is down. Everts is down. Well, what happened there? Stefan Everts making really an unforced mistake. Andre Bartolini going past him. Let's have a look at it. He got into the corner, the front wheel got away from him. He was very lucky not to collect Joel Smets in doing so. McFarlane as well. So Everts is now going to have to battle back through. So the Husqvarna of Andre Bartolini moves up, but I'm sure Smets will change that. There's Vico, 17, Garcia Vico, chasing Kenneth Asplund, the Finn, and goes right past him. You can see the tape in the back wheel of that. It is a KTM he's riding, despite the colour scheme. It's a full sponsored Telefonica. That's the Spanish communications company. They are the sponsors of this bike and this man. So hence the colour of the bike. There is the former world champion, Italian Andre Bartolini. Now has burned Eckenbach on the 28 bike there right behind him. So we could be in for a good scrap. Remember, Bartolini rode the first round in Spain, pulled out of the second round with a back injury and was considered to be unfit to race for the rest of the season, but he's made a comeback and he's making a great one here. 72 Everts then, trying to track down Eckenbach. You remember these two locked horns last week. There's the gap then between first and second. Bavorts has it 3.5 seconds on Smets, but I think Smets has got the mist over his eyes. He's going for this. The Flemish Lion wants to score maximum points to try and reduce that deficit in the standings going to the next round in Lirot, in the sand, where, of course, people like Everts and Smets. Oh, McFarlane there. Well, I don't know what he hit, but it chucked him straight over the bars, and the Bavorts has gone down as well. And he is distraught. I can only imagine that the machine is broken. Look at the handlebars. Well, he won't ride that back to the finish, that's for sure. Marnik Bavorts on course to take his second Grand Prix when the mechanics can only look over the shoulder, but look at that bike. Let's have a look at it again. He went off the jump. He landed wide, I think, into the soft stuff. And, well, I don't know what. I think his back wheel caught something. It just spat him over the bike. Well, he's lucky to survive that. Andrew McFarlane was got back in the race despite his handlebars looking more like a road race machine, but not for Bavorts. He is distraught. The handlebars are bent so badly. That's going to give Smets an easy run now to the flag. Marnik Bavorts can only think about what could have been a second Grand Prix win for him in a row. Smets then, there's the team manager, Kurt Nickel. He's already had a world champion crown today. He's looking at his world champion from last year. He's going to come around to take the all-important checkered flag. Smets it is then. That's the gap between himself and second place man, Andre Bartolini, the Italian. It's so nice to see Bartman going so well. Back, racing, fully fit. There is Shane King with our onboard camera, number 24. Well, Shane riding, and I've heard today, incidentally, that he may not be riding with the same team next year. But we'll give you more news about that in forthcoming Grand Prix. But we're on board with him. Shane King, the Kiwi, one of three brothers. Darrell, of course. Shane was a former world champion. There's Peter Johansson up behind Bert Eckenbach. Johansson making one of his late charges in the race, gets his second win and goes for it. The 35-year-old Swede basically retiring from full Grand Prix racing at the end of this season to become the test pilot for KTM and also to ride home nationals and selective GPs. Everts it is, third place. Well, 16 points is better than none. He'll be pleased with that. There is Garcia Vico. Well, the Spaniard now up behind Bernd Eckenbach. Time remaining, they've got 2 laps after this, but Vico is on one of his familiar rolls. He's chasing down the man in front. This will be 8th place for Vico if he can get it. He looks across at him. There's another good look at the German, as if to say, excuse me, could you move over? I'd like to come through. And he duly does. Oh, I think Eckenbach thought about Everts from last week and gave him plenty of room. This looks like Joachim Karlsson, it is. He's in 5th place. And there's Johansson. Oh, Peter Johansson flew into our picture, up inside the 2-stroke rider, the Swede. Well, the 2 Swedes battling out there, giving no quarter. Looked like 26 was the man behind him. That's Rom Yellem. He's down the field quite a bit, but Johansson now going after Johnny Lind on the 19 bike. So Peter Johansson getting his, well, second breath, as we should say. The likeable Swede. He really is a gentleman and an ambassador of the sport in every possible way. And he does the pass in virtually the same place as he did to Karlsson. So Lind can do nothing about it. Kurt Nickel coolly looks on as his man makes his way round to take the checkered flag. Joel Smets needed to win here today, needed to reduce that gap between himself and Everts going to the next round at Lirot. So there's the classification. Smets wins it from Bartolini, Everts, Johansson, Lind, Karlsson, Burnham and Vico. It's been a hard season for Joel Smets, for sure.
Yeah, that's right. It just kept on happening, you know, the bad luck and a lack of confidence. You know, I've never had, I explained it many times already, I've never had the right mixture this year between the mental strength and the confidence and the physical condition. And at the moment, I think mentally I'm a little bit better prepared. Physically, I'm better. And yeah, I was just lacking on confidence a little bit. I was trying throughout the week, just trying to build up my confidence again, but it doesn't come from one day on another. And if then things happen like in Switzerland, shit, if you have to race like that, it's hard to build up confidence. But I had a good race last Wednesday in the Belgian Championship, and I had a good day yesterday, which fortunately gave me the confidence to perform today.
So there's the classifications after 11 rounds, but there's only 53 points now between Joel Smets and Stefan Everts going to round